Good afternoon, everyone. It's November 22nd, 2019. Getting closer to the day I am evicted off of YouTube. Isn't that nice? Alright. So in this article, or video rather, give you my spin. By all means, let's talk about impeachment. To allow the president or any rogue government agency or individual to disregard the rule of law whenever, wherever, and however it chooses and operate above the law is exactly how a nation of sheep gives rise to a government of wolves. All right, I'm going to stop here at this first paragraph for a moment and discuss with you the term rule of law. The problem with Mr. Whitehead's wording here is he is talking about the very same people who create the law. So, if the people who create the law, they're making the law, right? And the problem with this is, it's very simple. What is he talking about when he says these individuals are disregarding the rule of law? What law specifically? I mean, let's take for example Congress giving themselves a free pass on insider trading. And this is why you, the individual, should ignore the rule of law. You should not participate in the rule of law. Now, if you're talking about natural law, that's a whole different matter. But we're not talking about natural law in this instance. And unfortunately, as an attorney, Mr. Whitehead has failed to understand that most of the time, if not all, when a group of individuals writes or makes laws, they are usually the very first to disregard and break these laws. So, what does he mean by rule of law? Well, he's talking about the people who write them. Let's continue. But he's right. He's right about this phrase right here. When these people are above the law, the nation of sheep does give rise to a government of wolves. And we can see this every time I make a video about police misconduct, can't we? We can see it clearly. And of course, none of this is really about Donald Trump, okay? And it shouldn't be. It's about all of them. But rather, it should be a condemnation of every government at every point along the political spectrum, whether they are left, right, and center, who has conspired to expand the federal government's powers at the expense of the citizenry. And I say, we do not need a federal government. We do not need these people, these sycophants, rolling over us with an iron fist. Now, as many of you know, I homeschool my children. And today, or actually this whole week, our language arts has been talking about leaders. Well, I don't teach my daughter that leaders are these great people. You know what I told her? I told her anybody who seeks to control other people should not ever be a leader. Anyway, the American people have played politics with their principles and turned a blind eye to every manner of wrongdoing that has come about. you know, restricting people's gun rights, allowing people to be crammed in prisons over a plant. We can go on and on and on. Now, I've had this channel for quite some time, and it took forever for me to get to 1,070 subscribers. And I can tell you the reason why. Because I've watched lots of YouTube videos, and there are many, many people on here who have a lot more subscribers than I do, but they don't speak well. They fumble around, as I do sometimes, and they just use the same fucking talking points over and over again. The reason why these channels are successful is because A, they take a side, left or right, most of them, and B, they have something to sell you. But we have played politics with our principles, and as I said yesterday, as soon as we turned our back on our principles, that being freedom, we lost our culture. It's gone. And we, the people, are paying the price for all manner of wrongdoing and allowing Congress, the White House, and the judiciary to wreak havoc with our freedoms. And these people act in violation of the rule of law, whatever that means. That's what I don't understand. What does rule of law mean? What does it mean? If you're talking about the laws that are written down in the halls of Congress, in your state capital, in your county's, what do they call it, commission, in your city councils, these are not laws. These are not laws. But we pay the price every day. We allow the government to continue its war on us, the American people. A war that is being fought on many fronts, with bullets and tasers, with surveillance cameras and license plate readers, with intimidation and propaganda, with court rulings and legislation. You know, that rule of law. So, most of the time I agree 100% with Mr. Whitehead. I do. He is one of my favorite alternative media writers. Except Mr. Whitehead has it wrong when it comes to the phrase rule of law, because it's vague, and it can mean, why would we obey the rules, the laws handed to us by people who openly treat us like and have declared the American people the enemy? What rule of law is Mr. Whitehead talking about? What rule of law is people like Ron and Rand Paul talking about? And it seems to me that people have the idea that any edict written down for the masses is, for some reason, to be obeyed and defended as the rule of law. And if that's the case, well then, we are fucked, to put it bluntly. This entire impeachment process is a manufactured political circus, a shell game. And it's for the purpose of distracting the masses from the treachery of the American police state, which continues to lock down the nation and strip the citizenry of every last vestige of constitutional safeguards that have historically served as a bulwark against tyranny, but it has not. If it has historically served as a defense against tyranny, we wouldn't have a police state, a nanny state, a welfare state, a prison state in the first place. And this is why I tell you, kill the state and live free.